Imagine returning to a place that is supposed to be your absolute sanctuary. We're talking about a lake house, summer vacation, the smell of pine needles baking in the sun,
Oh,
the
yeah.
sound of water lapping against a wooden dock. It's the exact kind of setting that usually screams happy childhood memories.
Right.
But now, twist that image for a second. Imagine that this exact, beautiful, idyllic spot is where your best friend died exactly 1 year ago.
And not just died, but died in a way that left a massive scar on the entire community. You walk past that dock and you don't see summer fun anymore. You just see police tape.
Exactly. You see the ghost of what happened.
Good.
That is heavy enough on its own. The grief, the trauma of returning to the scene of the crime. But let's add the layer that makes the book we're covering today absolutely suffocate you with tension.
Suffocate is the perfect word.
Right. Imagine returning to that spot, surrounded by your family, surrounded by your dead friend's grieving family, and you are the only person who knows the truth. You aren't just sad, you are terrified.
Because deep down in the darkest part of your mind, you believe that you are the one who killed her.
It is the ultimate pressure cooker.
It really is. You're describing a scenario where the internal landscape, the guilt, the panic, the secret, is actually way more dangerous than any external threat.
Yeah, it creates this incredible dissonance where the protagonist has to perform grief for the public while actually feeling just crushing guilt in private.
It's a psychological split that can completely break a person.
And that is the hook that grabs you immediately in the book we are diving into today. Our focus for this deep dive is the thriller novel Now She's Dead by Roselyn Clarke.
And honestly, this book did a number on me.
Same here. It's not just a who doing it, it's a did I do it?
That's a brilliant way to frame it. Now She's Dead takes that classic summer vacation gone wrong trope, which we see a lot in the genre, and twists it into a really complex study of toxic friendship, memory, and the weight of silence.
It asks a very uncomfortable question for all of you listening. If you run away from an accident, does that make you a murderer?
We have a pretty massive mission for this deep dive. We aren't just going to recount the mystery of who killed Sara Ellis, though we will definitely get to all those twists.
Oh, we have to.
We need to unpack the layers of a truly toxic relationship, the crushing pressure of keeping a life-altering secret, and the absolute chaos that ensues when you realize you might be the villain in your own story.
We're going to cover everything from spray-painted threats to flare guns, so settle in.
And just a quick heads up for everyone listening. To really understand the psychology here, we are going to have to spoil the entire plot of Now She's Dead by Roselyn Clarke. We have to discuss the ending to understand the beginning.
So if you want to go in blind, go read it and come back. But if you're ready to dissect the human condition with us, let's get into it.
Let's start with the protagonist, Mandy Jenkins, because the entire tension of the book rests squarely on her mental state.
And when we meet her, she is not doing well.
No, she is barely holding it together. She is heading back to Highmark Inn and Resort, and she has this really specific coping mechanism that she uses throughout the book to basically stop herself from screaming.
She lists flowers.
Right, daffodils, dandelions, dahlias.
That's a grounding technique.
Exactly. In psychology, we often see people with PTSD or severe anxiety disorders developing these ritualistic mental habits.
Because when the panic rises, when the heart rate spikes and that tunnel vision sets in, the brain needs a hard reset.
Yes. By forcing herself to categorize flowers alphabetically, she is engaging her prefrontal cortex. She's actively trying to override the amygdala's fight-or-flight response with logic and order.
It's so visceral in the text. She isn't just thinking about flowers. She's using them as a shield against the memories of the night Sara died.
And she's physically changed too, right?
Yeah, she's dyed her hair. She's wearing contacts instead of her glasses.
It felt to me like she was trying to hide from herself.
That's exactly what it is. It's dissociation manifesting in physical appearance.
She is trying to distance herself from the Mandy who was there that night. The Mandy who was Sara's best friend.
Because if she looks different, maybe she is different. Maybe the girl who hit Sara with a rock doesn't even exist anymore.
Because, as you mentioned, Mandy doesn't just think she knows what happened. She genuinely believes she is responsible. She isn't wondering who killed Sara. She is hiding because she thinks she did it.
Let's talk about the setting, because Highmark Inn and Resort is basically a character in itself.
It really is.
It's described as having this rustic charm. Manicured lawns, wealthy families. It's the kind of place where bad things simply aren't supposed to happen.
It's a closed circle setting, which is a staple of the mystery genre for a very good reason. You have a finite number of suspects and a very rigid social hierarchy.
Highmark is a place where wealth buys privacy.
Exactly. These families go there to escape the real world. So when violence intrudes on that bubble, it feels even more shocking.
And it adds to the pressure on Mandy. In a place where appearance is everything, where everyone is just smiling and drinking iced tea on the porch, carrying a dark secret feels 10 times heavier.
And the reason she's back there is the classic 1 year later trope. Her parents are basically forcing this trip.
Yeah, Mandy dropped out of college, she's struggling, and her parents think the solution is, I don't know, exposure therapy.
Which is such a massive misunderstanding of trauma on the parents' part.
Totally. They think facing the place will magically help her move on.
Exposure therapy is done in a controlled environment with a professional. Dragging your traumatized daughter back to the site of her best friend's death, surrounded by the people involved, without her consent.
That's not therapy, that's a re-traumatization.
It just shows how desperate her parents are to have their normal daughter back. They want the problem to be fixed immediately, so they're forcing the issue.
And it backfires almost immediately.
Oh, completely.
The cast of characters she's surrounded by is an absolute minefield. You have the grieving Ellis family. You have Kelsey, Mandy's younger sister, who seems incredibly distant and suspicious of her.
And you have Alex.
Yes, Alex, the handsome lifeguard.
He's Mandy's crush, but he's also the keeper of the secret.
He and Mandy agreed to lie to the cops a year ago.
He's her alibi.
Yeah.
But here's the thing about sharing a dark secret like that. It doesn't always bond you together.
No, sometimes it pushes you apart.
Because every time you look at that person, you're reminded of the absolute worst thing you ever did.
It's the prisoner's dilemma playing out in real time. They are stuck together. But let's get to the inciting incident, because this is the moment where the book just grabs you by the throat.
Mandy arrives at her cottage, this place that is supposed to be safe, and she sees something on the walkway.
Murderer. Spray painted in bright red letters.
I mean, can you imagine?
You spent 365 days telling yourself it was an accident, or at least that no one knows what you did.
You step onto the porch, and there it is. It's not subtle. It's literally screaming at you.
It completely shatters her illusion of safety. Up until this exact moment, the threat was internal. It was her own guilt. Now the threat is external.
And someone knows.
And not only do they know, they are furious.
This completely shifts the genre from a slow-burn psychological drama to a fast-paced thriller. Paranoia sets in immediately.
She starts looking at everyone differently. The staff, the guests, even her own family. She's thinking, did you write that? Do you know my secret?
And it forces us as readers, and the listener right now, to ask, is she safe?
Because up until now, she thought she was just hiding a past event. Now she realizes she might be in present active danger.
And speaking of danger, we have to talk about Natalie.
Oh, Natalie.
Natalie is Kelsey's new friend who tagged along for the trip. And she runs a social media channel called Crime Chat with Nat.
She is completely obsessed with the Sara Ellis case.
Because she doesn't believe the official police story that it was just an accident.
Natalie represents a really interesting modern archetype, doesn't she? The internet sleuth.
Absolutely. On one hand, you can argue she is seeking truth where the authorities failed.
But on the other hand, she is commodifying a tragedy.
She is turning Mandy's worst nightmare into literal content for views and likes.
That's what rubbed me the wrong way while reading. She wants to interview Mandy, the grieving best friend, for her channel.
She has no idea that Mandy actually thinks she's the killer.
It's so incredibly invasive, but at the same time, without Natalie's obsession, the truth might never have come out.
That's the double-edged sword of the whole true crime phenomenon. It can solve cold cases, absolutely. Yeah. We've seen that happen in real life.
But it also creates a culture where victims and their families are treated like puzzle pieces rather than real people.
For Mandy, Natalie isn't some crusader for justice. She's a predator. She's actively hunting for the exact secrets that Mandy is desperate to keep buried.
And the betrayal stings even more because Kelsey, Mandy's own sister, is helping Natalie.
Kelsey has a notebook with a quote-unquote list of suspects.
Mandy sees this and immediately thinks, my sister hates me, my sister suspects me.
The tragedy of the sisters is just a profound lack of communication. Mandy thinks Kelsey is judging her.
But really, Kelsey is just confused and hurt. Her big sister, who she used to look up to, completely shut her out for an entire year.
Kelsey's trying to solve the mystery of Sarah's death, sure. But mostly, she's trying to solve the mystery of what happened to her sister. She just wants Mandy back.
Before we get into the actual investigation, though, we really need to understand the victim.
Yes.
Because Now She's Dead by Roselyn Clarke doesn't give us the perfect victim trope. Sara Ellis was, well, she was complicated.
Complicated is a very polite way to put it. The book does a fantastic job of dissecting a truly toxic friendship.
Through flashbacks, we see that Sara was charismatic and magnetic, yes, but she was also highly manipulative, demanding, and volatile.
It felt like a cult of two. Sara was the undisputed leader, and Mandy was the follower.
There's this recurring symbol of the silver heart charm necklace. It was originally Mandy's necklace, but Sara took it. She just wore it every day.
That is such a powerful symbol. It wasn't borrowed. It was claimed.
It symbolized Sara's possession of Mandy. What is yours is mine.
In toxic relationships, boundaries simply do not exist. The abuser sees the victim as an extension of themselves. Taking the necklace is a way of saying, I own you.
And Mandy resented it. She hated it, but she couldn't say anything to stop it.
There's a specific flashback that honestly gave me chills. It's the drowning incident, just days before the actual death.
They're out in the lake just messing around, and Sara holds Mandy underwater.
And she holds her there just a little too long.
Right. It starts as play, but then the panic sets in. Mandy is thrashing, she's running out of air, and Sara isn't letting go.
That moment is absolutely pivotal for the reader and for Mandy's psychological profile. It establishes that Sara was capable of physical cruelty.
It wasn't just mean girl comments. She physically endangered Mandy's life.
It validates Mandy's deep-seated fear. When you are held underwater by someone you supposedly trust, that trust is broken forever.
The brain registers that person as a physical threat from then on.
Which is crucial context for the night of the death itself. We need to walk through Mandy's memory of that night, because this is the secret she's keeping from everyone.
They were drunk, drinking airplane bottles of whiskey and tequila out in the woods.
Which is classic teenage rebellion behavior. But then the mood shifts drastically. They get into a fight.
And because of that drowning incident days earlier, Mandy is already on edge. Her nervous system is primed for danger. So when Sara pins Mandy down in the dirt,
Mandy reacts with pure survival instinct. She isn't thinking, I want to hurt my friend.
she's thinking, I need to breathe. She's going to hurt me again.
Exactly. So she grabs a rock. And she hits Sara in the face.
That sound, the crunch. Mandy describes it so vividly. She hits her, Sara rolls off screaming, and Mandy just scampers away and hides under the dock.
And this is where the legal and moral lines get incredibly blurry. Mandy admits internally that she struck that blow. She knows for a fact she hurt Sara.
But she didn't see Sara die right then.
No, she's hiding out of the dock, absolutely terrified and sobering up very rapidly.
And looking out from under the dock, she sees someone else arrive in the clearing. She sees a mystery girl.
And then a flash.
A firework, a rocket, or a Roman candle. It goes off, it hits Sara, or explodes right near her. Mandy sees Sara fall.
And this is the absolute key to the whole psychological burden.
Yeah.
Mandy didn't light the firework.
No, she didn't. But she also didn't run out to help. She saw Sara fall. She saw the flash of the firework, but she stayed hidden.
She was scared she'd be blamed for the rock injury. She was terrified of the mystery person. So she waited.
And then eventually she just ran away. She left her best friend bleeding in the dirt.
That is the passive crime that haunts her every waking moment.
She believes that even if the firework actually killed Sara, her blow with the rock contributed to it.
Or, more hauntingly, that if she had just called 911 immediately, Sara might have lived.
That is the guilt that eats you alive. The thought of, I didn't pull the trigger, but I let her die.
It's a distinction that matters legally, for sure. But morally, it feels exactly the same to Mandy.
She feels like a murderer because she chose her own self-preservation over saving her friend.
So cut back to the present day, with the murderer graffiti fresh in her mind. Mandy decides she has to clean up her mess.
She remembers that she buried the silver necklace, the one Sara was wearing, which Mandy must have grabbed in the struggle or found later. She buried it in the woods that night to hide the evidence.
She sneaks out to the spot to dig it up, thinking if she could just get rid of the necklace, maybe she could pretend none of this ever happened.
But when she gets there, the hole is empty.
That is a straight-up horror movie moment.
Yeah.
The dirt has already been disturbed. Someone beat her to it.
And then the escalation happens. Later that day, the necklace appears right on Mandy's pillow in her cottage.
It's psychological warfare.
It confirms that the graffiti wasn't just random vandalism. Someone knows she buried the necklace.
Someone dug it up.
Yeah.
And someone is actively taunting her with it. It's like a whisper right in her ear saying, I saw you.
It creates this terrifying sense of omniscience. The antagonist seems to be everywhere at once.
Mandy realizes she is being hunted. She has to figure out who is doing this before they go to the police, or honestly do something much worse to her.
So she starts looking at suspects. And the list is pretty compelling. First up is Finn, Sarah's older brother.
Finn is an incredibly intense character. At the memorial service, he gives a speech that is just dripping with accusation.
He heavily implies he knows it wasn't an accident. He glares at Mandy. He traps her in these deeply uncomfortable conversations.
He has a strong motive, too. He and Sara fought constantly the previous summer. He was being very secretive.
And let's be honest, statistically speaking, family members are often the perpetrators.
Right. And Finn carries this constant energy of suppressed rage. He seems like someone who is just about to snap.
Mandy is terrified of him because he represents the exact judgment she feels she deserves.
Then there's Lee Miller.
She's the stepdaughter of the resort owner. She's the textbook definition of a rebellious teen.
She hates her stepmother, Alicia. She hates the whole resort environment. And Mandy actually catches her.
This was a really great twist. Mandy confronts Lee about the spray paint, and Lee actually admits to it.
She says, yeah, I painted murderer.
But she says it was just a prank.
Exactly. She claims it was an act of teenage rebellion against her parents' perfect resort image. She just wanted to cause a scandal. She completely denies knowing anything about the actual murder.
It's a classic red herring. Lee is acting out, she's being mean, but she doesn't fit the profile of the killer. She's just a vandal.
But then we get a clue that points in a completely different direction. Hannah, a staff member.
Hannah is part of the invisible class at the resort. The staff who clean the rooms, serve the food, fade into the background.
Mandy and her friends find Hannah with a very expensive bottle of perfume.
Which seems completely out of place. And Hannah claims she found it in the trash at the Miller cottage.
This is a crucial clue because it redirects the entire investigation. Mandy initially thinks Hannah stole it, or maybe that it belongs to Lee.
But expensive perfume thrown in the trash, that points to someone with serious money to burn.
It points directly to the owners of the resort, specifically the Miller family.
But before Mandy can put all those pieces together, she hits a breaking point. The pressure is too much. She can't carry the secret alone anymore.
She confesses to Alex.
Which is a massive risk.
Huge. Alex is her only safety net. He provided her alibi to the police.
If she tells him she actually hit Sara, he could turn on her in a second. He could say, whoa, I didn't sign up for this. I'm going to the cops.
But he doesn't.
No.
He listens, and he realizes something Mandy completely missed because she was blinded by her own guilt. He says, if you didn't light the firework, then someone else did.
He shifts the focus entirely from Mandy's guilt to the mystery woman Mandy saw.
He validates her memory. He becomes her partner in the active investigation, not just her accomplice in a lie.
That support gives Mandy the courage to keep digging. And the clues, the perfume, the mystery woman, the weird dynamics at the resort, they all start to align.
Mandy realizes everything points to one person. Alicia Miller, Mrs. Miller, the owner's younger wife.
This is where the story takes a sharp turn into the scandalous. Mandy discovers the real motive. Alicia wasn't just a bored housewife.
She was having an affair.
With Finn, Sarah's 18-year-old brother.
Let's just pause on that for a second. Alicia is a woman in her 30s. Finn is barely legal, maybe not even legal when it first started.
That power dynamic is incredibly predatory on Alicia's part.
Absolutely. And Sara found out about it.
Sara, being the highly protective and, let's face it, controlling sister that she was, threatened to expose them.
For Alicia, this was an absolute catastrophe. She had married into this wealthy, privileged life.
If the affair came out, her husband would divorce her, she'd be cut off entirely, her reputation would be destroyed in their social circle.
She would lose everything.
So the motive is status preservation. It's a primal, incredibly selfish fear.
Mandy tracks Alicia down to the honeymoon cabin, which is this secluded spot on the resort property. She expects to find Kelsey and Natalie there, who have mysteriously gone missing.
And she walks into a complete horror show. This is the climax of the book. Alicia has captured Natalie.
And she hasn't just tied her up, she has stabbed her. Natalie is bleeding out on the floor.
The stakes just skyrocketed. We aren't looking for a ghost anymore. We are dealing with an active, desperate murderer.
Alicia confesses everything to Mandy right there. She admits she was in the woods that night.
She saw Sara lying there, hurt from Mandy's rock, and she saw an opportunity.
That word just makes my skin crawl. Opportunity.
It's chilling.
She didn't plan to kill Sara that night, but when she saw her vulnerable, she realized she could solve her massive problem permanently.
She had a firework. Maybe she brought it to frame someone or just happened to have it, and she lit it.
She used the chaos of the night to permanently silence the girl who threatened her luxurious lifestyle.
And now, in the cabin, she gives Mandy an impossible ultimatum.
She wants Mandy to record a video confession taking the blame for Sarah's murder.
She's trying to pin it all on Mandy to clear herself completely. She says, you already think you did it. Just say it on camera.
And the leverage. She says she knows exactly where Kelsey is. And she implies that Finn is working with her.
That revelation hit me so hard. Finn, the grieving brother, is working with his sister's killer. How does that even make sense?
Well, Finn doesn't know Alicia killed Sarah. Alicia is actively manipulating him, too.
Finn thinks Mandy is responsible for the death. Maybe not murder, but severe negligence.
He's working with Alicia to force a confession out of Mandy because he desperately wants justice for his sister. He doesn't realize he's made a deal with the actual devil.
But Mandy isn't the scared little girl hiding under the dock anymore. She spots a flare gun in Natalie's bag.
I love the irony here. Natalie brought the flare gun because she's a deeply paranoid true crime fan who thinks danger is everywhere.
And she was completely right. That paranoia ends up saving them.
It's the Chekhov's gun principle, literally. The gun on the mantelpiece or in the canvas tote bag must go off.
Alicia attacks, and Mandy manages to grab the flare gun.
And she fires.
It hits Alicia right in the torso. The force of it knocks her backward down the stairs. And snap, she breaks her neck.
The killer is dead. It's a brutal, chaotic end. A firework killed Sarah, and a flare killed Alicia.
There's a really dark, poetic justice to the pyrotechnics. Fire for fire.
So Alicia's is dead. Natalie is critically injured but alive. Okay, deep breath, it's finally over.
But it's not. Alicia's phone starts ringing. Mandy picks it up. It's Finn.
This starts part 5, and honestly, this is the twist that elevates the entire book for me. Finn asks, did you get the video?
That verbal confirmation that Finn was actively plotting with Alicia to blackmail Mandy is devastating.
But Mandy realizes Finn has Kelsey. She hears the background noise on the call. He's at the lake.
Mandy absolutely sprints. She runs to the clearing by the lake, the exact spot where Sarah died a year ago.
And she finds Finn there. He has Kelsey tied up and weighed down right on the edge of the dock.
He's gonna drown her.
This is where we really have to unpack Finn's psychology. He isn't a cold-blooded killer like Alicia was. He is a boy fundamentally broken by grief and his own guilt.
Remember, he was sleeping with Alicia.
Right. If he hadn't had that affair, Sarah wouldn't have confronted Alicia, and Sarah wouldn't be dead. Deep down, Finn knows he is partially responsible for setting the whole thing in motion.
But he cannot handle that guilt. It would destroy him.
No. So he projects it all entirely onto Mandy. He adopts this incredibly twisted eye for an eye morality.
He thinks, you let my sister die in the water, or near it, so I'm going to make you watch your sister die in the water.
He wants to inflict the exact same pain and helplessness on Mandy that he feels every single day.
It's dark biblical retribution. He pushes Kelsey off the dock.
And this is Mandy's defining moment. A year ago, she hid. A year ago, she ran away.
This time, she doesn't hesitate for a second. She jumps in.
That imagery of diving into the dark water, it's
Yes.
so powerful. She's literally diving back into her deepest trauma.
She struggles with the knots underwater. Her lungs are burning. It's a direct, intentional parallel to the drowning flashback with Sarah.
But this time, the outcome is entirely different. She isn't the victim anymore. She's the rescuer.
She gets Kelsey free. She pulls her up to the surface.
Alex arrives. Thank God for lifeguards. And helps fight Finn off. But Kelsey isn't breathing.
That moment on the dock, frantically performing CPR, it is the longest minute of Mandy's life.
But then Kelsey coughs. She spews up lake water. She breathes.
She lives.
And that is crucial to the narrative. If Kelsey had died, this would just be a bleak tragedy about how trauma destroys absolutely everything. Because she lives, it becomes a story about survival and redemption.
So the dust settles. Finn is arrested for kidnapping and attempted murder. Alicia is dead.
And the police officially clear Mandy of Sarah's murder because Alicia's text records and Natalie's testimony prove that Alicia was the aggressor.
Legally, Mandy is completely in the clear. The passive crime of running away isn't something they can or will charge her for.
But the book doesn't let us off that easily. We have to talk about the moral resolution.
Right. Because Mandy did hit Sarah with a rock, and she did walk away when her friend was dying.
That's the gray area where this entire book lives and breathes. Finn was a villain in the end, absolutely, but his core accusation, you let her die, was factually true.
Mandy has to live with that. She has to live with the undeniable fact that her own fear overrode her loyalty to her best friend.
The epilogue jumps 3 weeks forward. Mandy appears on Crime Chat with Nat.
Which is a perfect full circle moment. Natalie survived her stab wound, she's recovering, and she's back to hosting.
But instead of letting Natalie narrate her life for content, Mandy actually takes the microphone. She tells her own story.
She admits publicly she was a bad friend. She admits she was a coward.
She owns the ugly truth. And that honesty is what actually starts to heal her fractured relationship with Kelsey.
Secrets destroy relationships. Truth builds them back up. Even really ugly truths.
The trauma has actually brought the sisters closer because they finally understand each other without all the lies.
The final image of the book is Mandy dreaming of Sara. It's not a happy dream necessarily. It's messy and sad.
But she isn't running from it anymore.
The title is Now She's Dead. It refers to that ultimate finality.
You can't fix the past. You can't bring Sara back no matter how much you regret your actions. You can only accept the reality that she's dead and choose to actually live your own life.
Wow. We have really unpacked a massive amount here today.
We really have. From the sociological pressure of the wealthy resort life, to the deep psychology of guilt, to the questionable ethics of true crime culture.
It's a remarkably dense book wrapped up in a fast-paced thriller package.
It really delivers on all fronts.
So, expert opinion time. What is the one major thing you want our listener to take away from Now She's Dead?
I think it's the whole concept of the passive killer we discussed earlier.
Right.
We all like to think we would be heroes in a crisis. We think we'd instinctively run into the fire to save someone.
But fear is an incredibly powerful drug.
It is. The book challenges us to look in the mirror and ask a really hard question. If I was drunk, terrified, and convinced I was in trouble, would I have walked away too?
It's a very humbling question to sit with.
It forces empathy. It's easy to judge Mandy on page 1. It's a lot harder to judge her on the very last page.
Empathy requires understanding the fear, not just judging the action. That is so true.
What about you?
I think my final thought for everyone listening is about that moment of inaction. Think about a time you saw something wrong happen, maybe not a crime, but something unfair, and you chose to just walk away because getting involved was too risky.
Oh, that's a good point.
Are we defined by the things we do or the things we fail to do when it matters most?
That is something to mull over.
Well, that is a wrap on our deep dive into Now She's Dead by Roselyn Clarke. If you want to experience that heart-pounding anxiety for yourself and see the beautiful writing we couldn't fully capture here today, definitely go pick up the book.
And maybe stay far away from fireworks this summer.
Very solid advice. Thanks for listening, everyone. We'll be back next time with another deep dive. Stay curious.
And stay safe.